Manchester provides the location for a press conference with local hero Jamie Moore and his opponent Mikhail Piccirillo ahead of their clash for the vacant European light middleweight title. Topping the undercard is Irish Olympic bronze medalist Darren Sutherland. I caught up with him and his trainer Brian Lawrence for a quick chat.
You know, you look at the guy's record. I'm a bit embarrassed about it, to be honest. The fact that, you know, he's lost more than he's won, but I don't choose the opponents. And, you know, Frank and Brian have both said to me that, look, you do your job in the ring and we'll do ours outside of picking the opponent. So I can only beat who's in front of me, and I'm going to treat this guy like any other. I'm not even going to bother thinking about the record. You know, I've trained really hard for the fight, and you know, if he's not up to scratch, then I'll be looking to take him out early.
Your last opponent was Georgi Ilya. What can you take from that fight?
What I took going into that fight really was just the whole occasion. You know, no head guard, no vest, the lights, the crowd all being very receptive to, you know, and yeah, just that experience I think will already set me in good stead, even though the fight was only a round. You know, because it took me about a minute, 2 minutes to actually settle, you know. So I hope to be a lot more switched on this time. So in a sense, that's bad news for my opponent, because I actually feel better prepared for this fight than I was going into the first one, because I'd only worked with Brian for like, you know, less than 4 weeks, whereas now, you know, we've had a whole, you know, 8-12 weeks working together now. So the relationship is you know, the chemistry that we have now is moving on, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah, the training's going very well. You know, he's in good shape. It's been quite hard for him, but he's come through it well, and he's ready to go.
And he's not moaning too much, or, you know, crying on the way home, nothing like that.
Well, he's been doing some of that, you know, but that's the way it is. You know, it's going to get harder and harder, and he knows that now.
So what kind of things have you had to work on to get Darren to progress into the pro ranks?
We've been doing a lot of road work, a lot of bag work, a lot of technical work, and a lot of sparring. You know, and he loves it, but it's hard. I mean, boxing's just hard all around, you know, make no mistake. You know, but that's what we do.
There might be a little bit less pressure this time. I know Sky jumped into the top of the bill. This time it'll be a proper undercard. You know, how's that going to be different for you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I honestly believe that, you know, as a professional, that's the natural law of order. You know, if you're starting out with your first couple of fights, you shouldn't be on top of the bill, because, you know, I have to earn that right. Yes, I'm an Olympic medalist, but as a professional, I've had one round. That's it. So it takes time, and especially if you're boxing a lower level of opposition that you're expected to blow away. You know, you can't be topping bills with that type of, you know, unless that's what the people want. But for now, I'm happy enough to just, you know, do my thing on the undercard and work my way up, and hopefully then next year when I start challenging for titles, etc., then I'll be able to headline a bill.
The sparring's going well, but I know for the next fight we're going to have to start bringing in more sparring partners, and we're going to have to start paying them, because no one's going to take that kind of hurt for nothing, you know. So, but that's the way it's going to be with him, you know. He's a big puncher, you know, and people are going to want to get paid just to spar with him. Yeah, I've been making him watch Mike McCullum and Bernard Hopkins. You know, he's been studying them, you know. I'll be adding in a few more later on down the line, but at the moment he's focusing on them too, you know. But he's just picking up different points off of them. I don't want him to copy them, because he's got his own style as it is, you know. But we just add bits in. I just want him to watch how patient they are, you know, because Darren's he just wants to get the job done quick, you know. So we're just teaching him a little bit more trickery, really. You know?
And the same's kind of true with what he's saying about what he wants to do with his next fights. You know, he's saying if he finishes this quickly, he wants to fight again real soon. What do you think about that?
Well, I ain't got no problem with that, you know. Come through this fight well. If he's out again in 4 or 5 weeks' time, you know, it's not a problem, you know. I mean, like I said, his last fight only went 1 round, so he's only had 1 round of professional boxing, so that's not a lot. So he wants more rounds, really.
Yeah, I spoke to Frank. You know, I want to be active and I want to be kept busy. And you know, if it's a, you know, a 2 or 3 round blowout, and you know I come through it unscathed, no injuries, no cuts, etc., then I want to be out next month. I want to be out regularly. So Frank has said that take one fight at a time and don't be looking beyond. But all being well and everything going to plan, that I may be out again in April. Before, otherwise there's a scheduled one for May, which is hopefully going to be back in Ireland.